Even when you're surrounded by millions, loneliness can still find a way to sit beside you. Sometimes the loudest applause feels hollow, and the brightest lights seem too artificial. Johnny Depp had spent years in the spotlight, adored, admired, and endlessly photographed. But lately, he began to wonder, do people love him for who he truly is, or just because he's famous? One morning, he made a quiet decision. No cameras. No scripts. No costumes designed to dazzle. Just him, his thoughts, and an old guitar that had been gathering dust in the corner of his home. He pulled out a worn-out coat, slipped into a pair of scuffed boots, and wore a wig that made him look nothing like the man on magazine covers. A floppy hat shaded his eyes, and a layer of dirt on his face disguised the softness that fame had once kissed into his features. He wasn't Johnny Depp today. He was no one. Just another stranger on a busy street. He found a spot on the sidewalk near a coffee shop where the sound of passing cars merged with the murmurs of city life. He sat down, placed his open guitar case in front of him, and strummed the first few chords. The music floated gently into the air, unpolished, raw, and honest. It wasn't meant to impress. It was meant to speak. But no one stopped to listen. People walked by, rushing from one destination to the next, their eyes glued to their phones, their minds elsewhere. Some glanced at him with indifference, others with pity. A few teenagers laughed as they passed, whispering cruel jokes loud enough for him to hear. One man even muttered under his breath, another failed musician trying to make a dime. Johnny kept playing. Not because he wanted attention, but because, for the first time in a long time, the music felt real. It didn't belong to movie sets, or award shows, or the expectations of fans. It belonged to the sidewalk. To the air. To him. Hours passed. His fingers began to ache. The sun started dipping low, painting the pavement gold. His guitar case was almost empty, just a few coins, maybe enough for a coffee, maybe not. Then, a small voice broke the rhythm of the city. "Hi." He looked up. A little girl, no older than 7, stood in front of him, her backpack slipping off one shoulder. Her hair was messy, and her shoes had clearly been worn through more adventures than they were designed for. She looked at him not with pity, but with something gentler, curiosity. "I like your song," she said, shyly. "You sound like someone who could be famous." Johnny felt a lump rise in his throat. He smiled, not the smile of a star, but the smile of someone who had just been seen. Really seen. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a crumpled dollar bill. She dropped it into his case with both hands, as if giving away treasure. "Thank you," he said softly. The girl waved and walked off, disappearing into the crowd. He sat there for a long time, holding on to that single moment, that single sentence. "You sound like someone who could be famous." Not you are, but you could be. A child's innocent words, free of the world's assumptions, were more honest than any award he'd ever received. The next day, Johnny returned to the same spot, not in disguise this time. In his hands, he carried a small acoustic guitar, brand new, lightweight, and perfect for a beginner. He waited until the little girl walked by again, this time with her older brother. She recognized him instantly. "You're the music man," she shouted. He knelt down and offered her the guitar. "This is for you," he said. "You listen when no one else did." Her eyes lit up. Her brother stared in shock, recognizing the man now. "Wait, you're... Johnny winked and placed a finger on his lips. "Shoo," he whispered, smiling. "Today, I'm just someone who believes in her." Later, with the help of a quiet donation, the little girl was enrolled in a local music school. Her name was added to a scholarship that didn't bear Johnny's name, only a small note, for the girl who listened. Johnny walked away without taking credit, without posting a video, without calling the media. He just kept walking, guitar slung over his shoulder, a quiet peace in his heart. Because sometimes, greatness doesn't need to be seen. Sometimes, it just needs to be heard, by the right ears.